sitting comfortably, then we'll begin.
Hey, hello everybody, welcome to Ukraine Update Show, where we have the remarkable operator Captain Starsky here with us tonight. So what the Orcs have been up to this week? Well, there's been a lot going on internationally. There's been a lot of fighting going on in the Donetsk region, especially around Bakhmut. There's been a lot of heavy fighting going on there. The Polish have been sending jets to Ukraine, although apparently there's a rumor I've heard that some of them are being sabotaged by Russian engineers. I'm not too sure about that one. And also over in the United States of America, the Pentagon are investigating alleged classified documents circling on the internet. So that's another interesting story. But we'll hear from everything from the man himself. So, Dick, let's cue the music and turn it over to Starsky for the headlines.
Hello, everyone. Operator Starsky here. I hope you can hear me well, because I doubt that. So we have a couple of days from Ukraine, together with the news about MiGs and the support from our allies. President Zelensky just approximately 30 minutes ago informed Ukrainian people that we will receive more of those APCs called Rosomak from Poland than it was announced previously. So according to our president, 100 of Rosomak APCs will be delivered now and 100 later. So we will receive 200 armored personnel carriers in total, but that's just one of the updates, because we can expect even more than that. Also, today we have some, I would say, rather sad date in Ukraine, because exactly 1 year ago, Russia hit a train station in Kramatorsk, killing more than 60 people. On the debris of this missile that hit the railway station, it was Tochka U missile. On the remains of this missile, there was a text written by Russians and saying, "This is for the kids." And ironically, this very this very ballistic missile killed plenty of kids that were there at the railway station expecting their evacuation from Kramatorsk. So also tonight, the Sumy region of Ukraine, Sumy Oblast, was hit by Russian bombs. We know that several residential buildings in the suburbs of Sumy, unfortunately, they were damaged. Some of them were destroyed completely. Not sure about the losses. I think the details will be available a bit later. Some good news. 31 kids were returned to Ukraine from Russia, those that were deported and kidnapped terrorists. 31 child returned to Ukraine and met their parents. I think it's fantastic. In March, in general, according to the information that was provided by the general staff of Ukraine, in total, Russian troops lost more than 24,000 orcs. And this dynamics is the dynamics of their losses. They have tendency to increase, especially in regard to the upcoming counter attack from Ukrainian armed forces. And those are most of the updates.
That was a lot. A lot
Yeah.
going on.
Also, we have information that the Ukraine Air Forces hit Russian occupiers 8 times in the area of Donbass. Several command centers were destroyed by Ukrainian attack aircraft. Also, in Marganet and Myrivsk villages of Nikopolsk region in Ukraine, strikes were reported. So Russians used their drones and heavy artillery to strike those 2 villages, Marganetsk and Myrivsk. And we also know that there was a strike. There was a strike in the area of Zaporizhia, specifically a town of Orikhiv, Zaporizhian Oblast.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, the 200 APCs, I mean, that sounds like quite a large number. To you, is that a large number? I mean, because, I mean, you potentially could do with a hell of a lot more than that.
Russians have approximately 7,000 APCs.
Yeah, 200 doesn't sound too much then, does it? I mean, it's fantastic. We, like you say, need to get more and more coming in. Now I have seen quite a few images of quite an awful lot of equipment seem to be rolling into Ukraine, but it's going to have to be used very, very tactfully because it's not a huge amount. It's quite a lot, but not huge.
Yeah, we currently we bet on quality over quantity, of course. But again, we're talking about the upcoming counter-offensive operation, and we're talking about assault operations. And those, even though if you have better quality of your vehicles and better your men are better trained, but still, even according to common field manuals, commonly used field manuals, you still have to have at least 3 times the man, the advantage, the triple advantage over your enemy. Don't know how to say it.
Yeah, no, that's right. You need the number to overcome. Because the whole counter-strike thing was kind of interesting because, I mean, the Ukrainian government basically issued advice to people living in the occupied areas that they need to get out. They need to get out fast. And you're talking about the counteroffensive. I kind of find it interesting that the counteroffensive is quite well known about. It seems kind of odd that people are telling the Russians that you're about to do this counteroffensive. Is that not potentially difficult for you guys if the Russians already know you're coming?
It is difficult anyways because we will not have advantage in terms of numbers. We will not have advantage in terms of numbers of troops and vehicles. So it will be tough anyways. But on the other hand, we're talking again about advanced vehicles, about advanced tanks that will be used to eliminate Russian orcs. And I think that Russian troops stationed in Donbass and preparing to die very, very soon, they must know about it. They must hear about those tanks and vehicles coming to take their lives, and they must know about it a lot.
And as far as all the British tanks are going over, can you please make sure you don't scratch the paint, because we would like them back in good condition.
I cannot promise that because I already scratched some paint. I was writing Starsky was here. So Starsky was eating a hot dog and things like that. Slava Ukraini, Slava UK, and things like that. I'm very, very sorry.
Yes,
You shouldn't have told me earlier.
You want to scratch an arrow in the front of the tank saying "this way up, this way forward."
Yeah.
Right. Mm.
I
In regards to that, how are you looking forward to, or actually, what are your feelings in regards to the trip that your deputy foreign minister is making to India? Do you have any hope that more equipment will actually be coming forward? I know they're looking for repairs for the energy infrastructure and that type of stuff, but they also mentioned possibly some equipment.
India.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the main idea of this trip to India is to talk to Indian officials, because India is probably one of the biggest Russian importers of
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest importers of Russian oil and resources,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that we must talk to them, because India, unlike China, India is a normal country, okay, and I think that we can find a common language with Indian authorities, Indian government, and Indian people, of course.
Yeah,
Uh,
they
it-
are
it-
kind of they are kind of semi-pro-Russian over there, aren't they?
They are, because they have so much of that Russian propaganda. Though the Hindustan news that I read
Mm-hmm.
from time to time in my news list, like yesterday in Hindustan news, they were claiming that they destroyed like 40th or 50th HIMARS system in Ukraine, even though like we only had 20.
Mm-hmm.
But we must talk to them, because we have more chances of persuading those people than because China is ruled by a freaking
Mm-hmm.
communist regime that despises democracy and all kinds of freedoms. India is a different story. People of India are wise and clever and open and friendly, and I think that the only problem is Russian propaganda. Russian propaganda is very, very strong. You should never underestimate this shit.
Now, Starsky, you're making me hungry again because I've got my Indian curry waiting for me. Now, just so that everybody in the chat knows that, yes, Starsky was making us all very, very hungry, talking about food.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be getting into the Ukraine food area later on in the show. Once we get all this nonsense about the war going on, we'll get that out of the way first. And also, everybody in the chat, if you want to ask Starsky a question. If you want to ask him a question or a question, don't forget to tag at the Shills in the chat, and we'll get those questions out. I'm not too sure if we've got any kicking there.
I was going to say, one of the things I think needs to be mentioned about India is, in part, their ties with Russia come from the authoritarian leader they currently have. He's an ultra Hindu nationalist, and he's
Prime Minister Modi.
Yeah, exactly. So Modi has alienated enough people in the West that he needs friends elsewhere to get his support. So he's looking to his fellow authoritarian leader in Russia for that. That's why I think a lot of what's going on between those two countries is the way it is. As we look at India prior to Modi, they were really getting much closer to the West. Modi changed that mode.
Context. Prime Minister Modi's party goes way back to the people who wanted to kick the British out and invite the Nazis in. Modi's party assassinated Gandhi, and it's when they say Hindu nationalist, think of the most toxic religious nationalists in the West or in Russia, or so that's what Modi is. And Modi's party even declared Donald Trump a minor deity, I think back in 2006 or 2016.
Delightful people.
Mm. But in regards to the negotiations with India, or at least having a visit over there, I did notice that Turkey, though, did just agree to stop transiting Western goods to Russia from some pressure that they were receiving. So that's a little bit of good news, anyway. Hopefully,
yeah,
India.
Erdogan's trying to play both sides of the fence.
Mm,
yeah, and we got used to that,
Yeah.
Commander, because like whenever he does something like something logic and something good, next day he
Mhm.
says like you gotta give up to Russia, you know, or so like
Mhm.
shit like that. And the next day he blocks the Bosphor for like Russian ships, you know, so they cannot enter. And the next day he says someone like
Mhm.
we already got used to that. I think it's a normal thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the key thing there to remember is that Turkey has a general election in, I think it's June, might be July of this year. And after the horrific earthquake, which occurred in an area that was kind of I won't say a stronghold, but predominantly aligned with Erdogan's party, they're kind of blaming him, so he needs to get Western aid to try to bolster his position.
Mhm.
So he doesn't want to alienate the West, because if they turn the spigot off, he has no chance of winning. But at the same time, he's still playing his authoritarian Islamicist role of where he wants Turkey to go. So it's an interesting dynamic there.
And all the Turkish people that I talked to, they all have European mentality. Like they're ready to fight for joining European Union even. And
but that's when you're talking to people in the big cities. When you go into the rural areas, he has enormous support amongst those populations, because they're much more conservative, they're much more religious, and they've kind of been cut out of a lot of the prosperity that emerged in the boom of the Turkish economy over the past 25, 30 years. So what's happening is those people who feel left behind are aligning themselves behind a demagogue who's saying, "Oh, fix everything and make everything good for you." And since that seems to be the only person who's acknowledging their existence, they all line up behind him.
interesting thing about Turkey is that Vladimir Lenin is actually one of their heroes. The executioner who killed like millions of Ukrainians. He's one of the heroes in Turkey because he helped Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. So Turkey became independent and free. Like history is like it's full of crazy.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So we have some things to address in the where we have a new member, Ashley. Welcome, Shills apprentice. We also have a what do you call them? Like a donation from 877 Swiss Miss of 20 CHF. What the heck is that? Don't know what that is. But we've got 20 of them anyway. Thank you very much. We've also got some questions for if you'd like to. Oh, wow, that kind of makes sense. Right. Yes.
we do.
So, and I am not trying to butcher that name. Caprina. I don't know what that is. So, what is your opinion on the game Glory to Heroes? It recently caused quite a controversy on the Ukrainian internet, so would be interesting to hear your opinion as a soldier. Glory to Heroes.
Game Glory to the Heroes. I don't really know. I know about Invictus Games, like international competition for disabled veterans, but I don't know about this one.
Unfortunately, no answer there. We also have Henrich Bertie. Question of Starsky is, how is Yemelian? Sorry, Starsky, I'm going to butcher all this Ukrainian language. Well, how is Yemelian doing? Has he been on any adventures lately?
Yeah, so Yemelian is guarding my property here. He's staying outside. The problem is that we had a rain for a week, and we will have rain for another week. But Yemelian enjoys this beautiful weather. He likes to stay outside, watch the clouds, and think about his homeland.
Is he
Where
a
he's
dog?
buried. No,
Or a
he's
person? He's a human. I don't know. I don't know this chap. Okay, sorry about that, Yemelian. Right, CF. How is Bakhmut? Oh, I think we all know the answer to that one.
Bakhmut is holding. So again, as I said, approximately 1 month ago, everything is under control. Like, don't worry. There is a tough combat. Russians are throwing everybody they have. They're advancing slowly, but slowly, and they're losing a lot of men. In the past 24 hours, they lost more than 1,000 men dead. 2 or 3 times of that are wounded, and they keep attacking. Currently, Bakhmut is pretty much destroyed by artillery. There's not many places that we can use as our positions. And the only way for Russians to take Bakhmut is literally raze it to the ground, like they did with Rubizhny and Severodonetsk. That's their only option. And in this case, yes, we will perform controllable withdrawal of our troops, because if you destroy a city, there's pretty much nothing you can capture.
No, but it's certainly a good place to pick off the Russians as they come in. It wasn't me, asks Operator Starsky. Is it true that your hotline? Hang on, let me try that again. Is it true that your hotline, I want to live, is booming right now? I want to live, yes.
I don't have much information about it because it's, let's say, it's a business of our security service of Ukraine. Those guys are controlling everything related to Russians who want to leave. And who want to give up to Ukrainian armed forces, as well as return our.
Yeah, we should explain that. I mean, yeah, it's basically a hotline for Russian soldiers to call, but it's being run by Ukrainians. So it's basically for Russians to call to try and find a way out of fighting.
Those who want to survive, they have every opportunity to call to receive instructions on how to give up to Ukrainian armed forces and stay alive, basically. But as far as I know, we receive quite a few calls every day, and not only calls. Recently, I think we had some big exchange of our prisoners, like I think 1 week ago. I think it's great because Russians receive a chance to stay alive. They receive a chance to breathe this beautiful air of democracy in Ukraine. Probably receive some nice food, something that they never tasted in Russia, and happily return home to their parents and wives.
At some point, I mean, I'm sure they're not, jumping at the chance to go home to Russia, because they'll just get sent back out again. But there you go. Right, Dusty River asks, it says, how's Starsky's unit in Bakhmut doing? That's a bit more specific about Bakhmut, and maybe he can't tell us much.
They're doing great. You can see some updates about my guys in Bakhmut at the flashback channel. here on YouTube, Max and Pasha are operating there in Bakhmut together with our guys. So they're fighting. So currently there are two things that we do. First thing is we're holding Bakhmut. We're defending Bakhmut. My guys are fighting specifically in the Bakhmut downtown at this moment. And at the same time, we are forming new battalions that will be used to deoccupy our territories. And those guys are preparing and training here in the controlled part of Ukraine. So soon we will also participate in the assault operations in the upcoming counteroffensive. And hopefully we will deoccupy our land and eliminate a lot of orcs. I can say that because recently I visited our training camp. I can say that our guys are highly motivated, and the only thing they dream about is going there and turn a lot of Russians into good Russians, because a lot of those guys come from Luhansk and Donetsk. They lost their homes, they lost their family members and things like that, and they want revenge. They want to retaliate for everything Russians did. The most efficient way to do that is physically eliminating Russian invaders, and that's what they want to do.
Excellent news. These bloody questions just keep rolling in. But we have some more context about that game. What was it called? Glory to Heroes, or Glory to the Heroes. It's a game between BF and Armour. That is developed by two Ukrainian indie developers. The controversy arises from the fact that in multiplayer you can play as Russians. I guess you just like respawning a lot, I guess. Well, Starsky doesn't know anything more about that game, so we'll leave that one there.
I mean, if it's a computer game, I got used to the fact that sooner or later such games will appear and people will play them. So I think nothing wrong with that. Myself, after the Revolution of Dignity, actually, I wanted to create some kind of computer game about the Revolution of Dignity, where players could play one of the activists and go through through all those historical events that took place in Kiev downtown, in Maidan. First time this thought appeared in my head, I had controversial feelings, because on one hand, a lot of my friends died there under the sniper's fire, and on the other hand, I realized that sooner or later, when our wounds are healed a bit, then such things will be appearing one way or another. And what we can do is we can basically tell our stories through computer games, because computer games nowadays, you can compare them to movies.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, they have incredible engagement in terms of the audience. So we can tell our story through computer games, and I think if this game tells our story, then I don't see anything wrong with it.
No, I mean it's the funny thing is, they're saying it's controversial that you can play as Russians. I mean, every single war game throughout history, you can play the bad guys, the other side, or whoever you want to be. They had the old tactical war games from World War II. Yeah, but so someone has to play that part. Is it bad that you can choose?
The obvious question is, who's going to play the opposition? Without the Russians in that scenario, you end up with a Ukrainians shooting at Ukrainians, which is even worse. So I don't follow the logic of why it would be controversial.
No.
All right. Okay. I agree. There's always there must be always some kind of op for, and I think that developers could add some interesting features to those orcish armies, like for example, like stealing toilets, or I don't know,
Getting crushed by washing machines.
yeah, drinking window cleaning liquids and things like that.
Now, it sounds to me like you're writing a new version of Angry Birds. I think that's the way to go. A great demonstration of the war in Ukraine, flinging bombs or flinging washing machines and toilets at the Russians and knocking the buildings down. Cheryl Waitley is a new member. Were the snipers? No, let me try reading. Shall I? Were the snipers able to get out of the high rises before the thermobaric weapons blew them up? I'm not too sure where.
There's not too many high rises there in Bakhmut, actually.
Well, certainly not now.
Because, like, if we're talking about Bakhmut, I cannot really remember high rises there.
Yes. And the last one for the moment is Trying Daily. How does Ukraine get into... Oh, I've already missed one. Yeah, I know I've missed one, but I'll come back to that in a second. How does Ukraine get info about the hotline to the... what that's I want, the Mobliks?
So this information is shared through different channels. First of all, the social media, Telegram channels, of course. There are SMS messages that are sent to Russian troops who have phones and things like that. There are different channels that can be used to inform Russians about this hotline.
Okie dokie. And we've got one from Sweet 70433, my favourite of the sweets. Can Starsky tell us what he does to his spirits?
Well, I just I can. Sometimes I like to eat something tasty. For example,
I knew it would get onto food.
Yeah, let's talk about food because it's important. So one of the coolest things I have currently is called basturma. So basturma is it's a Turk cuisine. So I believe that it's made out of cow. And basically, you have this piece of meat that is rolled in spices. There's like a huge thick layer of spices, this thick, and you gotta attach it to a window, for example, or put it somewhere where there's like a fresh air, so it dries. And it's called basturma, and it's sold everywhere in Ukraine. It's a very popular thing. I had some small accident with basturma the other day when I was bad. I went to this grocery store, and there was this cashier, and I asked her, can you give me masturba, please? And she was like, what? I'm like, masturba, oh shit, basturma. So you gotta remember how to call it properly, but it's very nice, even though sometimes I call it
you certainly don't want you she is for a masturbate. No,
yeah.
David Worley is snuck in when I wasn't looking. He's normally the one that reads out some of the questions, so sorry about that, David.
No, you're doing a fantastic job, Dick. Don't worry about it. I love your haircut.
You love my voice now. Instead of the godlike voice, we've got this whiny little English accent.
It's gravelly. It's better. It's better. You don't sound like an idiot anymore. You know.
Oh, fantastic. Sorry, Starsky. Let's get back to you. Enough of this banter. So, what did he call that? Beef rolled spices. What was it called again?
An alternate name. Yeah, an alternate name is posturma. So and if you look at the recipe, it's similar to pastrami. It's more dried.
Yeah, but returning to the question, what I do to lift my spirits, like I have no idea. One thing that motivates me is reading supportive commentaries from people from all around the globe. I think that this is the biggest motivating factor for me. But personally, it's very hard to say. I used to go to gym, but now I have too many tasks. That's why I don't have much time for gym. Unfortunately, I got to return there somehow. But basically food. That's the only thing that brings me joy. The other day, Max asked me, he said, like, do you like your life? And I said, dude, there's war. Personal life doesn't exist. Forget about it until it's finished.
I thought you said, oh, well, yeah. Oh, we got a couple of super chatty things that will lift your spirits. From Janet Pope, $20. We got a little sticker with a little chappie waving a golden cup, and we also have things from Bernie Verhoeven, another Australian $5. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. And we also have, do we have a Streamlabs donation link as well, Dick? Oh, you probably can't answer.
Well, actually, we do have a few in the super chat room, DK, from AZ Felina from Ukraine, 20 for the Boom Boom Fund. Can't wait for Ukraine to kick the orcs back to hell. Slava Ukraini. From Tunak the Caveman. Here are some funds to put towards the painting the drones in a blue and yellow camouflage to help protect them from Operator Starsky. Love you, Starsky and Fudge.
It won't help. It won't help. Because, I should just do well.
Yeah. From Ashley, who's a new member. And forgive me if this was asked already, but she says, Starsky, has Ukraine determined the cause of the Puma crash that killed Minister Denis Monstrasky?
Can you repeat that, please?
Has Ukraine determined the cause of the Puma crash that killed Minister Denis Monastresky?
I don't think that the results of the investigation were published. I don't think that they were announced yet.
Okay.
But like there are different versions because there were a lot of top officials that day in the helicopter, all in the same place, all in the same helicopter, and also the witnesses. Again, official investigators don't talk about it yet, I think, until investigation is ongoing. But for example, my acquainted press officer said that she talked to the witnesses, and they said that they heard explosion, and then they saw this helicopter on fire falling down. So I don't know what to say yet. We should wait until the end of the investigation, but it's still ongoing.
Okay, thank you for that. Ashley has also donated again with the message for the drone fundraiser. She has sent in several donations for that. So thank you, Ashley. That's Ashley Bishop. That's it for now. Back to you, DK.
Me? What do you want me for? Here's Starsky.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to my favorite Englishman. Hey, Dave, you got anything for us? Yeah. We'll go back. Yeah.
I just wanted to compliment I haven't got anything whatsoever. No thoughts in my brain. I've been love struck, Claire. No, I haven't. So anyway, I was going to ask, when it comes to other conflicts, because we do, and we should quite rightly always obviously bring up what is going on right now this week in Ukraine. How do you view other conflicts that are going on in the world? And this might be worded in a slightly funny way, so bear with me. And are their conflicts easier to resolve? In a similar sort of way to say, you can't give yourself relationship advice, but I can give my friend relationship advice. Of course you should leave them, right? But I can't do it for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there are some conflicts out there that are important, that are an important topic to me, for example, because that there's like conflict in Iran involving some people that are important to me. That's why, for example, I'm wholeheartedly supporting the protesters, and I'm following the protests in Iran. But regarding other places, not so much actually. Literally because we have war in Ukraine now, and we should think more about how to resolve our situation here.
Claire, you've got your hand up. It might be that she's just left it up.
One thing I can say is that Ukraine will never forget all the people who helped our country, and all the people who supported our people, and that's why that in the future, when we have such opportunity, we will be paying back. We will be helping those people, and I'm talking about Chechen volunteers. Not Kadyrovites, though those are not even Chechens, actually. I'm talking about Chechen volunteers fighting for Ukraine. I'm talking about Belarusian volunteers fighting for Ukraine, and many other people. So we will be following them, Georgians, of course, and as soon as we have such opportunity to help them, we will provide them with all kinds of aid we can, because we never forget people who help us.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially that brings up memories of how we dealt with World War II, and how many countries have sort of ceded, as it were, from our former empire and have sought independence, and still to this day are detaching themselves from our monarchy, for better or for worse. So, following on from that, it's really great to hear how you take personal inspiration from other incidents that are going on in the world, particularly the Iranian situation, which I believe is a regular piece of programming with Claire and various others on the Shills. If anyone is interested in sticking around for that sort of content, then please do subscribe. There was a famous, I do believe, and this is a very commonly held idea. I don't know whether this has just been said a lot and isn't actually true, but I believe it was a very famous Russian, Stalin, who said, the death of one is a tragedy, the death of like 100,000 is a statistic. And I suppose when all is said and done with the war, you remember that sort of one incident with that one person, or these little stories where something really actually meant something. Because sometimes we can hear a story of, 300 people died, 500 people died, and it is genuinely awful. But it really hits home this one story of this one person. Is there any hard-hitting story you have that you've witnessed it? Did you just keep remembering every week or every day of this one person that you just can't forget?
There are many stories that I can tell, but I'm trying not to think about them every day. There will be time to cry after this war is finished. But I can tell you all kinds of stories about all of my guys that I know personally that died. Sergei Kishkin, my good buddy from my battalion, we served together in my platoon. I was an NCO, he was a private, an infantryman. Then he became NCO. He died in Rubizhne when he was covering the withdrawal of our guys. He was shot in the leg, and then he tried to apply his tourniquet, and then Russians shot him dead, basically, at point blank, and we didn't manage to retrieve his body, unfortunately. There was Alexander, Swedish, nickname Swedish, Alexander Shvets, one of my best buddies, NCO. He was a battalion NCO, and he died together with my other friend, Dima Bacharnikov. He was I believe, company commander, and they died due to a Russian bomb. Actually, only coils left after them. There was Alexander Markiv, call sign Kozak or Chumak or Sumrak. We have a lot of names in the army, and he was shot in the head. This one died, by the way, in 2019. In Svitla, he was shot in the head. There was a ricochet. Russians opened fire using their heavy machine. There was a ricochet into his face, basically, and he remained alive for some while. He lost his face. He tried to talk when he was evacuated, but it was too hard because he had no. And he was evacuated very, very fast. He was delivered to the local hospital in Svetlodarsk. The guys were happy that they managed to evacuate him very, very fast. And they even gathered a small group of guys who had the same blood type, but as soon as they were already on their way to the hospital, they received an information that died during the operation, and his wife. So he left wife and 12-year-old son because he had no face. He was buried in the closed coffin, and his son didn't, because his son was a bit autistic. He didn't realize that his father was dead. His wife, his widow, asked our commander to open the coffin to see him for the last time. Commander refused. He said, "You don't want to remember him like this. You want to remember him the way he was." And they buried him, and then his son didn't realize that he actually died, and his widow asked me to explain this to his son, because the psychologists, the kid will only understand this if some friend of her, some military friend, will explain this. So on the day, we have this tradition to meet on the 9th day after the funeral and mourn our deceased ones. On the 9th day, we gathered there in Obuchiv, not far from Kiev, and I had to explain kid how his father died. Then there was Dima I didn't know him well, but I saw him a lot. In my brigade, he was always very, very funny guy, and he was our artillery observer, artillery recon, basically. And he saved a lot of lives using his skills, actually, a lot of Ukrainian lives. So it was actually rather like, I can say, a horrible accident, because it happened on the front lines, on the battlefield. But he died from other cause, because it was not far from Dolomitne, and Dolomitne is basically next to Svetlodarsk. Very, very, very small town with pork farm and things like that. And there were electric lines that were ruptured, destroyed due to the Russian shelling. There were wires on the ground, and usually there was no charge, no power. But that day something happened, and the power was in those. There was active charge in the wires, so Dima was walking to the to his position. He stepped on a wire and died instantly because of like 20,000 volts. And we buried him in Nizhyn. And the day when we had to inform about his death, his parents and his wife, he was very young. He was 21-year-old. So the day we informed his wife, she was also very young. She was given birth to their baby. So we had to delay a couple of days before letting her know about his death. There was Serhiy Mikhalchuk from our recon. Again, everybody loved this guy. He was kind, open, friendly. He was again, he was 23, I think. And he was a machine gunner. Machine gunner means that he's a big dude, because in order to carry a machine gun, you gotta be a big guy. And everybody called him, I don't know how to translate it properly, like handyman, because he could repair all kinds of stuff. So Svetlodarsk, there was an attempt from Russians to break through our defense. So they used these tactics called wall of fire that didn't change since 1931, which basically means they're shelling the territory closer and closer to our positions. He is following this wall of fire, and because he was a recon and because he had to observe this during shelling, everybody goes down to their cover, and everybody is trying to take cover in the trench and hide from shelling. But there's always this guy who has to observe the situation. You know, you cannot avoid it. Somebody has to do this. So he was observing the situation. He saw those terrorists trying to get closer towards them, and he opened fire from his machine gun, and he suppressed advancing troops. Then he saw his comrade who was there in the trench with him, but he had like a shell shock, you know, a contusion. So he tried to push him to the cover underground. And at this very moment, 120 millimeter shell exploded next to them, and basically Sergei took all the shells, all the fragments from the shell in his body. So he covered his comrade with himself, even without without knowing it, basically. Andriy, his comrade, received a fragment to his shoulder, remained alive, but unfortunately, because all the fragments went straight into Sergei's body, he died. And our brigade was later named after Sergei because he was pronounced a hero of Ukraine officially by our president. And our brigade was named 4th Operative Brigade, named after a hero of Ukraine, Sergeant Serhiy Mikhalchuk. It's just several stories. There are other stories about my friends that didn't serve in my brigade. They served in other units, and not only military men. We're also talking like journalists. There was Levin, who was killed in Irpin, I believe. He was executed basically by Russian invaders. And people like him, because there was a list of people that were supposed to be eliminated. Pro-Ukrainian people, famous people, opinion makers. Among them were a lot of my friends who had to find shelter in different areas while Kiev was besieged, basically. And there's a lot of stories. I remember all of them. And to Ukrainians, every death of our soldier is a tragedy. It will never be a statistic to us. Whenever Ukrainian soldier dies and his body is brought to his hometown, you can see people that just line along the road, and when this vehicle with his body passes them, they knee down to express their to honor the soldier. That's why to Ukrainian people, all of our soldiers are heroes. It's not like, Russians don't care about their soldiers. They are eaten by stray dogs. They are thrown to those crematoriums. They don't care. But to us, it's a matter of honor. We always have to remember our heroes, and we always have to care for their families, and all of their families become our families.
That is the single best answer we've had in a year of doing these.
I mean, it's those. I'm not even too sure how you followed from that, but everyone's talking about Starsky's life, and that is essentially what their life is, and all Ukrainians, what they're having to put up with at this moment in time. We have to. Yeah. As sad as the stories are, we have to remember that's what they're dealing with on a daily basis, and I know we all would like. Well, I know we always laugh or make jokes and talk about all the other silly stuff that's going on. But yeah, that's the harsh reality of it. People are dying, and dying in horrific ways. There's some really tragic stories in amongst that lot, Starsky. I really feel for you. Commander, you had your hand up.
Operator Starsky, I can only imagine. Well, I can't imagine what Ukrainians are going through. I'm assuming that there's probably going to be some kind of plan or hopefully to be able to deal with all the mental health issues that are going to stem from service, but also the civilians. Can you elaborate on that? I have mental health issues, but they're probably going to be nothing compared to what the soldiers are going to be dealing with.
Mental health issues are it's a very important topic, no matter if you're a soldier or a civilian, trust me, because whatever happens in your head, you can defeat all kinds of enemies on the battlefield, but you can lose this battle with your inner demons in your head. And again, I know several who committed suicide, and no matter what, we still respect them because they fought they fought their battle, their final battle against those demons. So we still must respect it. We must respect those people, and we have to keep good memory about them. I think that relatives of Ukrainian soldiers who died on the battlefield, they have a lot of assistance and support. Of course, best thing we can do is care people and help them, and always invite them and call them and support them as much as we can. I remember last year in autumn, we had this memorial opened in Kyiv, and we were invited there. A lot of people were there because they were named our soldiers of my brigade who fought and died not far from Irpin, in the area of Bakhmut, Irpin, Moshun, Hostomel, of course. Again, one of our officers, he's a deputy commander, and he's responsible for everything related to military psychologists and discipline and all that. Not sure how you call them, how you call this kind of officer in your army, but he talked to relatives of our soldiers. There was a woman. She was a wife of one of our officers who died in Huta Mezhihirska, basically in March 2022. Dan Lishishin, he was officer of the headquarters. He was responsible for, again, an infantryman. Okay, he was an officer responsible for security of labor. It's like when you are assigned some task, he brings you this journal and you have to sign, and he explains you all the instructions regarding like what you have to do in order to avoid ending up like an idiot. And he was also pronounced hero of Ukraine. During the battle, he received a wound to his stomach, and he lost consciousness. And then our guys brought his body. He was still, and they brought him to the BMP, and they put him on top of BMP. But this BMP got hit by anti-tank missile, and basically he burned to death on top of this BMP. And his wife was asking, are you sure that it was him? You know, because not much left from him. There was another guy from my brigade. He was in that very battle. He was a communication officer, but not in terms of communication like me, like communicating with audience and media and stuff, video communication. And only a leg was left from him, Captain Dobrondrav, who was. So he got shelled, and the only thing that remained from him was his leg. And my officers, this deputy commander and several other officers, including military psychologists and people who knew them well, they to the morgue basically and recognized them. And so this wife, this widow, was asking commander, like, are you sure it was my husband, and things like that. She still had this hope that probably it was a mistake and he's somewhere like lost or Asia or being captured as prisoner. And there will be a lot of people like this, so they will also require some help, I think.
Good grief! How can you possibly identify a person just from their leg? Well, it's a hell of a thing to ask anybody to do. Can't imagine what it's like. But yeah, so unfortunately, I do have to bring up some things here. We do have some super chats to address. We have Yvonne Way has become a new member. Welcome, Shills Apprentice. We have Stephen Walsh here for $10. Fantastic support of the channel, Stephen Walsh. Yvonne Way again is these are Swiss francs, I've been told. $5. Thank you very much. And Green Metal is I can't even read what that is, but it's whatever it is. It's 1790 of them.
Israeli shekels.
Oh, God, good grief. What do you expect from me? And Claire, I believe you have a slew of stuff to get through.
I do have a few here, and also our sympathies, Starsky. I can't even imagine what yourselves and the families are going through. From Andreas Agaloff, we've got 70 and 38 cents Canadian. There is no message, but if there is one you would like us to shout out or state, please tag us in the chat. From Raven7, we have donated another 20 Canadian. Starsky, I hope you're doing okay. When you eventually come to the UK, you will have a lot of beers to sample. You won't have to buy any for sure. Stay good, and I hope the gyms is giving you a lift.
Thank you so much. I will pump up my my health in the gym in order to lose it in the UK.
That's very good. And we have a direct donation from Team Cinnamon for $50 Canadian. Again, no message except that, but if there's anything you'd like us to say, please tag us in the chat. From Nadav Ben Shlomo for $54.24 Canadian for the Boom Boom Fund and Victory. And from a name that is impossible to pronounce because it's just a bunch of letters and numbers, like really, really long. But then it is for $33.90 Canadian. It says Denise Syrett loves drones. I believe it's for the drone fund. But if you would like another message, please tag us in the chat. From I think that's it. I apologize if this is a repeat. I think, DK, you said this one. 1288 Canadian for the birds, Slava Ukrainian, Herom Slava from Jonesy, I believe. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I think we're caught up. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Any questions from the panel? Anybody want any questions?
Let's talk about food.
Talk about food. Let's talk about. I'll tell you something. It's not talking about food, Starsky. I saw a channel where there's this guy. He builds armor, like medieval armor. He even makes it's like Mandalorian, from Star Wars outfits, and he's Ukrainian. Is a Ukrainian blacksmith building all this armor. It was fantastic. I was wondering we should get him to hook up and we can get Starsky built some Mandalorian armor made out of Bhaskar, obviously, so it can be protected against the orcs. So maybe that's our future donation plan. Once we've got him a drone, we'll get him Starsky all suited up with a full armor outfit. How about that?
It's kick-ass. So there was a unit of Union Special Forces that, they had this picture. So they were all there wearing Predator masks, like from this movie, The Predator, and it looked so kick-ass. Yeah, it was savage. I doubt that they were fighting those masks, of course, but it was awesome.
Oh, that would be terrifying as a Russian infantryman to see these guys running across the fields with these masks on.
Yeah, but generally speaking, Russians are terrified of yellow Scotch and Ukrainian pixel. So Predator mask be total overkill in this regard.
Oh no, I like the thought of it though. So food. We would go on. What do we want to ask about food? Now, is there? I mean, you've gone through just about everything you love and adore, and what you can get over there. I mean, sushi. Have you had any sushi recently? We know that that's your favorite.
I'm waiting for Brandon to come to Kiev to have sushi with him. I hope that he earned some money because Brandon decided to organize this company of gigolos, you know. And he said that he will employ me, Max, and Pasha. But I think that Brandon has much more chance to earn money because he speaks 2 languages. Like he speaks like 4 languages: English, French, Russian, and Ukrainian, and it's actually a Swedish language. So he can work much more than us 3 combined.
So what? So go on tour like a strip club or something. Going all
Like
full Monty.
Because I will attend gym. I will be doing strip, and Brandon will be doing more offline activities. If you
Can't wait to see Starsky doing hot stuff. Gonna bring you hot stuff. Claire, you got your little paw up, you darling.
I do. We have a food related. We have 2 food related questions from the chat for Starsky. From Ashley, who's a new member. She wants to know that there are many types of borscht. So which one is your favorite, Starsky?
There's a lot of different types of borscht. In different oblasts of Ukraine, we have different borscht. But my favorite one is a green borscht. It contains like boiled eggs and a lot of green stuff. It exists. Actually, you gotta Google it.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of green stuff. You mean like vegetables, like kale?
I often forget how to call it. So like different, not vegetables, but like salad components.
Lettuce, lettuce and cabbage and
like real greens.
Yeah.
He didn't mean dollar bills.
No, okay. Daughter, that is actually gross. Daughter of Texas One wants to know if you ever looked up the biscuits and gravy recipe that we talked about last week.
Not yet, but I remember that. I keep that in mind. I will. I swear.
Okay. Last one is I saw Max, Pasha, and then eating milk soup or something yesterday. Is that a good idea?
Oh, so
that's from what?
Yeah, it's a video where he was talking about gigolo business plan and stuff like that. So actually that stuff is called okroshka, and it's made out of sausages, sometimes green beans, you know, the peas, and my God, milk, sometimes kvass. I'm not sure if you know what kvass is. Anyways, usually it's milk, and it tastes great, especially if it's very, very hot outside. So it's a cold dish. It's served cold, and it's very good.
Klingon dish. Revenge is always a dish best served cold. We have a few super chats in. I just got to address very quickly. From Dusty River, it's $20. For the boom boom, shashlik and beer. FTW. Stephen Walsh is back again with $100. I told you he's a massive support for the channel. He says, unfortunately though, Stephen, you might have to explain this one. don't have to do a super chat. Just explain them. He says, moose like to walk into buildings. Anybody? No, I don't get it either. But Stephen, if you want to explain
it's funny to me.
You can explain it then. Secular Sakai is back from yesterday. He did an amazing job yesterday on yesterday's stream. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. But he's put in $10. He says, "Hey Starsky, do you know anyone who might be interested in Taiwanese drones? Also, my friend's wedding anniversary is next month. I'm buying them from Korove. Just give me English words. I can do those. What designs do you think are good?" I'm assuming he means drones, not wedding anniversaries.
Karavai is a specific bread that is given to a couple that is getting married. It's a tradition here in Ukraine. Not sure about other countries, but it's usually like some very, very beautiful loaf of bread. Because generally bread is sacred in Ukraine. Like all the generations of Ukrainians have this big respect towards bread. And regarding the Taiwanese, DK, can you explain me, please?
Yeah, he says, do you know anyone who might be interested in Taiwanese drones?
Taiwanese drones. You gotta contact somebody who works with drones in general. Probably some guys from Recon. There's Terra, Air Reconnaissance. There's Madhyar. I think you gotta contact those guys.
You got to get in there quick while you still can get Taiwanese drones before China surrounds Taiwan. That's going to be a different show, I think. So Dick Dawson in the green room is asking, does Ukraine have its own take on pizza?
Which pizza?
I don't know. It says, does Ukraine have its own take on pizza? Do you have like a variation of something that's like pizza but not pizza? I don't know what that would be. Was that bread with something on top of it, I guess?
Not really. Like usually we cook pizza. So in Ukraine, like local pizza in Ukraine, basically it looks like this small biscuit with like cheese and sausages and I think mushrooms. And by the way, it tastes awesome. And in different supermarkets and groceries have their own pizzeria. You can buy that. My favorite ones is cheese pizza, like just cheese. And this one with like sausages or ham or sausages or ham with mushrooms, and they must be shredded to like atoms. This type of pizza tastes so good.
Okay, very, very quickly, Stephen Welch has just come in with another $20. History will always prove trumped the pirates of reality. Who's that sighing in the background? Okay, Claire, over to you, darling.
Over to me.
Yes,
okay,
please.
I have one.
You've got your little hand
Okay.
up, so I thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it automatically came down after I spoke last time. It was up from before. Well, there is a Ko-Fi donation from Adrian with just a message. Hi from New Zealand for $12 for the fund. And I do have a question. Hold on one second. Operator Starsky, do you like sweet potatoes? And also from Lacrimal, they hope that you're going to get it. The Easter Bunny brings you a bunny and that it's chocolate. Like good chocolate, I hope. Well, the question is about sweet potatoes.
I mean,
like
is it like sweet? Like sweet?
Sweet potatoes are also called sometimes yams. They're the orange potatoes that are like sweeter, that are here in America. We make them into pies, or we candy them or roast them. Several things. They're used like a potato. They grow just like a potato, but they're higher in sugar and they've got beta carotene. They're very orange, like really orange, like a carrot.
You got to be careful. Sweet potatoes and yams are different animals.
It's true. One's paler and all, but the taste is very, very similar.
Oh, yes.
You can't argue me that.
Don't say they're animals, because that will really confuse Starsky. He'll start hunting them down.
No. By the look on Starsky's
They're
face,
drones,
I would
Starsky.
say
They're drones.
He likes sweets, but he has no idea what we're talking about here. So I'll go on to the next one. And I do hope you get
I never heard about it
now.
in my life. Like
Yeah.
potatoes can be sweet.
Yes, very actually. And then they even take it farther. They candy them and they add like lots of enhancements. Like here, there's even a casserole we make with them with marshmallows. Like,
Yeah, Starsky, do not get confused with potatoes. They're not potatoes.
they're not actually. Yeah. Okay. But there's
Claire,
a question from Corinne. Yeah.
I was just going to say, we're here talking about food, Claire. It's not.
I know.
That's not food.
It's a food.
It's
Okay.
American.
Okay, just
Sorry.
remember, it was a question from the chat. Okay, all right. It's okay. Corinne would like to know what kind of desserts in the Ukraine is Easter favorite?
The desserts. So we have paskas. Paska is like it looks like a muffin, but it's made out of a white bread, and it has this icing on top of it, made from sugar and cream, and there's a lot of different like candies on top of those, and that's a traditional Pascha, the traditional dessert in during Easter. In our part of the world, I think it's widespread in other countries as well, like Belarus. But it's very, very nice. Everybody loves Pascha here.
It sounds delicious. Thank you. Back to you, DK and Dave. And questions?
Yeah, very, very quickly. DK, have we ever discussed a Cornish pasty with Starsky?
I don't know if we have.
I asked that to you, but I didn't ask it to Starsky. Starsky, have we discussed?
Probably a better way to do it, really.
A pasty is a British baked pastry, a traditional variety of which is particularly associated with Cornwall, southwest England, but has spread all over the British Isles.
Now read that again, Starsky, but with a Cornish accent.
It's
It's damn impossible.
It'd be Bristolian's quite close. So it's like, hello there, you're right. How are you? What a Cornish pasty, something like that.
Yeah. Or if you want to do Cornish, just do a pirate's accent. Rawr. Alright. We'll have a Cornish pasty.
I gotta learn that one, because like there's so many cool accents in the UK, and I gotta learn them all. I tried. I made a failed attempt to learn Cockney. It's something that I still cannot conquer, but I definitely gotta learn it.
You didn't go to the Dick Van Dyke School. Right, never mind. Okay,
Please avoid using obscenities on this show.
Yeah, we're going to get cancelled for using that name now. Yeah, so well, maybe like a little a question of his baby Starsky. Maybe we should hear a bit of a story from baby Starsky, and maybe, since you like the subject, maybe something food related.
He did promise, yes.
So back in the Soviet times, for the first time in my life, and I was like, we saw a banana. I lived in Honcharivsk, it's Chernihiv Oblast, and they brought bananas to the grocery stores like for the first time in the century. And of course, the queue was 5 kilometers long. Okay, obviously, and people could buy like several bananas per person. And I think my mother bought a bunch of bananas. They were green, and we had to put them somewhere, in the kitchen for a while, so that they would ripe, eventually become more yellowish, and then we ate those bananas. They didn't taste well because they were too green, and my brother, for some reason, put his banana under his pillow, and no idea. Probably he expected, to wait until they're like become better or ripe, or I don't know. But he put his banana under his pillow, and of course it got spoiled there, and it looked very, very gross. I had a banana, choking on it, and later our mother bought this banana shampoo, and having a shower turned into a freaking torture because it smelled so good. And of course the taste of it, like, it didn't taste like banana, for obvious reasons. It was a freaking shampoo made in the USSR. Yeah, but it smelled so good, and every time I had a shower, I was just, had to wash myself constantly because I had the saliva just going out. Yeah, so I don't have a lot of good memories from the Soviet times. I wish I could forget it forever. So that's the story.
Choke the Banana, also a great movie if you're into that sort of thing.
You know what you should do with spoiled bananas, though? You can make banana bread. That's very good.
Banana bread it's a great thing. We have some craft bakeries here, and they sell craft bread. And sometimes we order banana bread. It's delicious. It's so good.
Made from the bananas pillows of young Ukrainian boys. Not too sure that will sell too well. Claire, I'm going to hand it over to you, me darling. You think you've got a few words to say? Oh, have I dropped Claire in it?
I do.
Are you there, darling?
I do. I have some direct donations here. Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Got a direct donation from Susan Osborne. She sends 12.99 Canadian. And then from Secular Sakai, we have a donation of 40.68 Canadian. For Starsky and his guys, Slava Ukraini. Drive the orcs back to Mordor, Moscavia, mate. Smork. Whatever it's SMORK. Smork. What is this? Okay, thank you very much. We got a direct donation of $30 US from Eric Gonzalez. No message, but if there is one, just let us know. Another message from Walsh. Another $100. Thank you, Stephen Walsh. Starsky, how do you look at the world map?
Usually it's like YouTube maps. Yeah, but we have this very popular map of the world where to the north of Ukraine, this beautiful northern ocean starts, and north of Ukraine is basically a shore, and I think it's a very beautiful representation of our most sacred dreams.
Here, looking at
It
the
does
map.
sound beautiful. Indeed, I just have a personal question. Oh, beautiful.
Well, before we get to that, Stephen Walsh embarrass me now. Your amazing donations that keep coming in. He's never got another one. Stephen Walsh is asking, Borscht.
A third one?
Can't beat it.
Okay.
Yeah. Another $100. Working on red borscht. Can't beat it.
Same here. Actually, I never learned how to cook. To my shame, I don't know how to cook green borscht either, and it's actually a very dangerous situation because they say that path to the man's heart lies through his stomach. I can confirm this is how it works, and this is what Ukrainian women usually use in order to capture a man, and it works all the time, like every time. So I gotta learn how to do it because two divorces is enough.
And sorry, Claire, you also had a personal question. I just had to interrupt that with Stephen Walsh. And no more Stephen Walsh, but sorry, Claire, the personal question.
It was, no, it was about chocolate. Chocolate rules everything. Like Starsky, are you going to have a lot of chocolate this weekend, considering this feast day?
Yeah, so I found a chocolate that I can consume because majority of chocolate tastes like perfume to me because of freaking COVID. But I found some specific chocolate with nuts, and it tastes fantastic. I can recognize milk chocolate, and of course it must be milk chocolate because what's the point of eating a chocolate if it's not sweet? So
can I
good.
throw out?
Then I'm glad you will have some.
Hark back to the days we were talking about this. You mentioned Russian sweets, and I made a specific note about it. Could you remind everybody and all of our wonderful new viewers since then of the whole story behind Russian sweets and the not Russian, Russian, and how you made? I think you made him. Was he president or prime minister?
Yeah. So our previous president Poroshenko had a company called Roshan. And this company was making like all kinds of sweets, like chocolate, like anything. And he had a chocolate factory here in Kyiv downtown. And I visited that factory, of course, and it was so good. They had like a movie explaining history of chocolate, and it appears that different types of chocolate, like white chocolate, milk chocolate, and black chocolate, they're all created from same components, but only different proportions of those components, which is crazy. I thought that they're made of absolutely different things. And then they had this tour around the chocolate factory, and of course you could make your own chocolate and design your own like packaging, this box for your own chocolate. And it was one of the best days of my life.
follow-up question on that then. So I also noticed, and I think Claire can possibly confirm, I think the Americans have like a darker chocolate. They prefer like a higher cocoa content, and in Europe we have like a creamier, more sugary chocolate. If you go, is it different if you just keep going further east?
I don't really know. I haven't been so far east, but I believe that like in Ukraine we have all kinds of chocolate, black chocolate as well. But I believe that chocolate must be sweet because this is the way I was raised. This is the way I've been taught that chocolate must be sweet, and that's why I prefer milk chocolate, as sweet as it can be.
Yeah, Claire, and you're not having any say whatsoever on what chocolate gets produced in America.
I'm
Sorry,
an
what?
American. I'm an American. Most of the chocolate here is milk chocolate. That's what they sell the most of. That's why we see the most of in stores. But
Thanks
the
to
dark
Hershey.
chocolate is the most expensive, but most consumed would be the milk chocolate.
Yeah, have you stopped eating that Hershey's crap?
Because the
Yes, here.
no, see, I don't weigh in because I'm actually a dark chocolate preferred lover, and I didn't want to argue with Starsky because I support his love of milk chocolate if that makes him happy. So
Actually,
thanks
I
for that, Dave.
consider Claire. I consider people who don't like sweet chocolate actually dangerous because, like, people who don't like sweet chocolate or people who drink coffee without sugar, like coffee without sugar, those people can actually.
Oh no, not even the black coffee too. All right,
living person with the same expression, you know. So.
I guess okay.
I prefer sweet
Wow,
stuff. My ex was very demanding regarding coffee, and when we were somewhere out there, you know, I would buy like any type of coffee because like doesn't matter what kind of coffee you have, if there's like a lot of sugar in it, like I don't care. And she was always like, she was too demanding and picky, you know. She was like, I don't like this one. I like Arabica with like some crazy shit. I don't know those words even. And she was like, how can you drink this horrible instant coffee? And I'm like, what? Like, coffee, your type of coffee doesn't matter if you have 5 spoons of sugar in it. Try, maybe you'll like it. Yes. So this is my rule. I can literally take this, you know, this container with drop all the coffee into it and stir it and drink it and chew it, of course.
So what you're saying is you prefer coffee flavored sugar rather than sweetened coffee. I got you.
I would buy it.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. I mean, I've never liked coffee, especially there's some. What's the type of coffee which is made out of like the feces of like a mole somewhere?
Yeah.
Mine's going mad.
Mellow bird.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that kind of. It's like it's not even coffee granules. It's just like a powder that's just like scraped off the factory floor of all the other instant coffee factory. Yeah,
that's why it's chewy. Stuff.
Yeah.
I think I was one of 3 people in the U.S. Navy who drink coffee.
Oh, is it that
we'd have a little convention every year? And, oh wow, there you are! I didn't know you were still in.
Is it like that? Is it chicory you're talking about, David? No.
I wouldn't know the name of it. I will research.
Oh, they do add that in Louis. They do add that in the South here. They do add
It
that
could
to
be-
coffee to make it smoother.
It could be
Yeah.
worse. It could be camp coffee, which is like the liquid of all the. It's been passed through several rats and is like fermented in their stomach
Oh.
and is urinated straight into bottles. Yeah, camp coffee. That's a famous one.
Yeah, it's civet.
Alright.
Is that what you said?
I am
Coffee
now
made from
officially a
acorn.
coffee snob. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Starsky. I really have bad memories of your ex, but yeah, I guess I'm that like I am a coffee snob. Totally black, totally from
Alright.
the bean. Won't give me no
Alright.
in. I'll
Coffee
shut up
snob.
now. I'll
Coffee snob. No, I don't want you to shut up. Don't want you to shut up because Commander's got his paw up. But before we get to that, we've got a couple of to address. Claire, could you please?
Yes, it's getting the
I cannot imagine this, Claire. Do
okay.
you even enjoy life?
I do. I guess I'm the most dangerous person you know on this in this chat then, because the bear, I guess I live up to my name because I don't like, well, I do like milk chocolate. Don't get me wrong. I will eat milk chocolate. It's very good. It's very sweet, but I prefer things a little less sweet. So I usually get dark chocolate. My bad, but
Yeah,
I
you're a
think
masochist.
I think on
I
the
get-
dangerous scale, my wife would win because she eats raw cocoa nibs.
oh, there you go. See, okay, I feel a little bit better now. I'm allowed to stay, right, Starsky? I mean, I'll leave it up to you. Just like, apparently, I've stepped in it all over the place today. Thanks, Dave. But still,
Supervillain status,
we
right?
have Ashley, a new member, for $10. Need to get Licia Nikki Tuik to make borscht for Starsky. I think that might be a famous chef. I probably massacred the last name, but it looks like Nikki Tuik. But anyway, they're talking about you need to get some good borscht from her. And this room is from Stephen Walsh, another $10. Thank you, Stephen. Potato implies mashing. I'm sure all Americans agree with that. Ashley Bishop sent another $25.81 direct Canadian for the drone fundraiser. And from lots of love from CF in the chat, banana bread for Starsky's for thank you. So she's sending funds directly for banana bread to keep you all well fed. And the last one, secular Sakai for $5. Am I the only one who eats carob? We can eat it with our dogs without poisoning them because they can't have chocolate. You know, dogs can't have chocolate. Well, is it like a substitute, like a two? You know,
Carrot?
carob, CAROB, like with a B at the end. I'll send you a link. I would say Starsky does not eat it. Anyway, all caught up. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Go1, you had your paw up a little while ago. Is it still relevant?
Yeah. Well, it was relevant to coffee and chocolate. Can't stand coffee unless it has chocolate in it and lots of sugar. And I wish that someone would invent a milk chocolate that had the consistency of dark chocolate.
Bro. I discovered one thing. So it's like, again, I was drinking a lot of coffee. And eventually, when I felt that my heart said that I was crazy, I decided to switch to something more appropriate, like tea with milk. And actually, I find this British tradition amazing. Tea with milk. Of course, British people will hate me because I have like five spoons of sugar in it, but it's awesome.
That's proper builder's tea. That is.
Yeah, you have to builder's tea.
Yeah, you've got to have the spoon be able to stand up in the middle of it. You got a proper cup of tea. Right, everybody. I'm afraid we're running out of time because, Starsky's got to go to bed. And he's going to fight the nasty Ruskies tomorrow. So we don't want to keep him up too late. So, anybody want to say anything for wraps? Who's first on the chopping board? Nobody. All right.
I think Starsky's got to stand up.
Yeah, Starsky. Well, we'll come to you last, Starsky. You're the guest. You're the main guy. So you're the guy who comes out at the end. So yeah, but we'll see if these other retrobays have got anything to say. It doesn't sound like it. Get on with it, David.
Go on then. I think it's been a roller coaster of emotions. Whose bloody idea was that? I think I'm banned from asking questions ever again. But I think some positive ones for next week, balance things out. No, that was fun, wasn't it? Did turn up slightly late, but there we are. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got whatever you needed out of it, and everyone can go have some food or whatever it is you do. So yeah.
Well, as usual, Starsky leaves with us. Everybody's stomachs are rumbling now. So Claire.
Yeah, I would just say it was very interesting stream. I hope I redeem myself by telling Starsky that I do put chocolate in my coffee occasionally, and it's very sweet. So I could come back next week, right? Like hopefully. But for everything that is going on over there, thank you for sharing the stories, especially the difficult ones. I know that's not easy, but it's important to get a clear picture of everything that's going on, not only on battle-wise and equipment-wise and technology-wise, but also on the human end of it, the toll that it's taking. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And to everyone on the panel, thank you for getting us through today, and for the chat, all of your super comments and definitely all your contributions to the funds are greatly appreciated.
And Claire, before you go, we have yet another from Stephen Welch, who's just embarrassing. Or if you want to take that one,
Legend.
Yes, from Stephen Welch. Have you ever seen pineapple? I'm going to make Scotch eggs and Reuben empanadas. Okay, so first part is, have you ever seen a pineapple, Starsky? And then I think you know what Scotch eggs are. Reuben empanadas, that's new. That's actually quite interesting. Do you know what an empanada is?
No idea.
They're amazing.
It is it's Spanish. It's a pastry dough, like a little bready, and it has usually some type of a meat filling. But to make it a Reuben, I believe, and he can correct me, Stephen, if I'm corned beef and cabbage and sauerkraut to it to make it a Reuben. Like it would be stuffed with corned beef and sauerkraut, because that's what a Reuben sandwich would have on it. Oh, and Swiss cheese. There would be cheese in there too.
I think Dave would agree with me that just sounds like a spoiled sausage roll.
Yeah, I mean, an empanada is very much like a sausage roll, but the meat is usually like shredded or minced. Well, very much like a sausage roll, actually.
I don't listen to Claire at the best of times, but I did hear something about cheese, and frankly, the only cheese that myself or DK would ever consider is either a hard cheddar or a red Leicester. And sorry, those are the rules.
Oh,
so
well. Oh, what about a triple cream French, you cheese snob?
Right, moving on, everybody. Children in class, please.
Okay.
Commander Macmillan, do you ever got anything to say before we close out?
The only thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank Starsky for sharing those stories of the friends and comrades he lost. It's through remembering people like that we do them honor for what they did for the cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you for coming. And Commander 401, the other commander, the less powerful commander, the unreal commander.
Yeah, the only thing I command is an army of fictional 3D penguins. Everyone, after Ukraine kicks the Ruskies out, they're still going to need a lot of support. You heard what Starsky said the Ukrainian people are going through. And simply put, I needed to take a few minutes because I realized just how much PTSD and all that's going to go on after. It's not just let's build some pretty buildings and be done with it after. It's this whole thing. It's going to have, well, it's unity in Ukraine, it's pluses, but there's going to be a lot of problems down the road.
Now, naughty chat, people in the chat, stop sending super chats. We're trying to say goodnight, so stop it. We've got another one there, Claire, very, very quickly, and then we go to Starsky. Claire, no, are you there, sweetie? All right, I'll read it from.
Yes, I'm here. Secular Sakai. Yes, Starsky, you must try Boden's Gets one day. Vignettes.
Baguettes, yeah, I will.
Bayonet, but bayonet, not
that
bayonets.
sounds delicious, actually. Yeah. No, not bayonets. Never mind.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's not bayonet. Maybe you do.
Okay, so over to
You bayonet, I swear I didn't say.
They don't like it up them.
They like it.
Baguettes taste very nice. It's traditionally, I believe, French bread, also very popular in Italy, by the way, as well as in Ukraine. And I gotta say something wise. Obviously, that's why you should always eat sweet chocolate and drink coffee with plenty of sugar, because you have to enjoy life. You only live once, and a couple of like several extra pounds, totally worth it. Trust me. So thank you so much for being awesome, and thank you for supporting Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Starsky, for being here, and everybody in the chat, and all those fantastic donations. And I've got to say, special thanks, even Welch as normal, for just nailing the super chats tonight. I don't know what you're doing, but there you go. Thank you so much. And we're going to ask Dick Dawson to press a button, unless he's going to say something on the way. Oh, and Slava Ukraini.
It's over. Go home.